Hi, welcome to Breezin with Bierman, the podcast. I'm excited. I think it's our 6th podcast. We haven't put anything on the air yet. But before I even get to our guest, if you like what you hear, we're going to be on SoundCloud, Apple, Facebook, Snapchat. Oh, the millennials will go crazy. Hopefully, older people would like to listen to what we have to talk about too. So again, check us out, Snapchat, Facebook, SoundCloud, Apple. My producer knows all this stuff. Okay, let's go. Today's guest, she came from a large Italian family that loved to cook. She liked to cook. She went to college for not really culinary arts, but she started cooking for her son's elementary school class. Then she started baking for a place called Small World on Witherspoon Street in Princeton, New Jersey, central New Jersey. Then she worked for a food cooperative in Hopewell, New Jersey. We're talking central New Jersey for those who don't know. And then, lo and behold, she went into her. This is what you have when you have a podcast. She went into. Excuse me.
Call from Diane Bertanu.
You can even keep that in. I love the reality type show we have here. Then she went and started her own business. You have to have a high threshold of ambiguity, I think, called Lily Pies. That's spelled LILLIPIES.com, Lily Pies, at the Princeton Shopping Center in Princeton, New Jersey. But you can reach her again on the World Wide Web, lilypies.com, because she makes excellent baked goods. My wife actually spends her own money and not mine to buy them. That's how good they are. Now, before we get to her biopic and everything else, she has a cookbook called Lily Pies, the Cookbook. It's available on Amazon. It's Amazon.com. I had my family look at this. They love the recipes. They like the book. I, not knowing much, thought maybe it was going to be something you could eat, but you can't. But let's welcome Jen Carson of Lily Pies. Hi, Jen.
Hi, Adam. How are you?
I've been better. I've been shoveling snow. For those who don't know, we have about 12 inches of snow here in central New Jersey. It's February 1st. This will be on later. Before we get to your biopic, I like the timeline of your life and suggestions you didn't take, and then a life where you went into with passion. And also, you seem to always have a smile and be upbeat. But let's first get to the cookbook. What is this cookbook about? What do you want people to take away from it when they open it up, use the recipes, whatever they do?
Well, as you know, I started off as a teacher, and I've always taught. So when I wasn't teaching kindergarteners, I was teaching pastry students at Mercer County Community College. And I always loved to learn through cookbooks myself. So I always had this dream of writing a cookbook with the details that I would want included. So, you know, how to convert something from a full-size pie to smaller pies, and how to convert a cupcake recipe into a full-size cake recipe. So there are details like that in the book that I made sure to include. I also wanted to tell the story of Lily Pies. And I think the biggest part of our story is the people involved. So if you look first few pages, we have a really fun collage of just all the staff who just are obviously having fun and enjoying what they do. Oh, there's my mom.
Family members.
Yeah. Yep. And that's
it's like a yearbook. It's kind of like it's a chronicle of your life, the people involved, the team you grew, and pretty much easy to. I'm not a big cook, but easy to follow recipes. And like you said, I like you have the conversion on this too. I guess you're telling people what you wish you had known maybe when you started.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, there are helpful hints, and you know, if this happens, then this is what you did wrong, and this is how to correct it. You know,
here's the young people she exploited to do this. I thought that was, hey kid, I won't pay you, but it's like, you know, it's good for your resume for college. But no,
did pay them, and there are really good recommendations as well.
You're better than I wouldn't have paid them. I would have given them a handshake, a warm smile, and this will get you into the college you want. Maybe, maybe not. But anyway, no. But yeah, great. And
it has. There are seniors this year, and they have gotten into their top choices. So
one thing about this book, though, they're so talented. They help you write this. They took the pictures. Yeah. You know how? No, but you assembled a team that has talent, and they worked. They did it. So this is again for people who like to bake, though, right? So what kind of recipes are your favorite in this book? What do you want them to know about?
I would love. It was funny that it worked out that we launched the cookbook on Pi Day of 2020, which was the very beginning of the pandemic, when everyone decided they wanted to learn sourdough bread randomly. So we have sourdough recipes in the book. So a lot of people bought the book, started making the recipe, sourdough multigrain, they made pretzels, they made all sorts of other things, and they'd be able to come in to the bakery with questions. So the bakers and I are always happy to kind of guide people who are learning to bake. And we give away free levain, which is, you know, sourdough starter, whenever people ask for it. And so it's kind of been a fun journey, and a journey that we did not plan, which is always the best kind. So, you know, we didn't expect everyone to want to learn to bake sourdough bread in March of 2020 yet. That's when we launched the book.
But even then, you truly like to educate people on what you love, what you found is your passion, cooking. And you're helping to have, anyway, no questions too dumb. I've seen people talk to you. My wife has seen people, and you share your passion. It's a community type thing. And does it help sales? And we get, bottom line, I tell my producer numbers too. How's the book selling, relatively speaking? Are you happy?
It's selling quite well. It's we're actually looking at other stores in town to help sell it.
Right.
And that'll be great. It sells very well in the store, in our store.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's doing well. We're going to do a relaunch this Pi Day. Hopefully it'll be a little bit safer than last Pi Day.
If I can get a little provincial, of course, we have the World Wide Web, but for people in Princeton or the area, besides getting on Amazon.com, where, for Princetonians and people in the area, where do you plan to launch this business synergy? What other stores might be carrying it? Whole Foods?
Good question. Yeah, well, we have, again, we have it at our store. We have it at Homestead Princeton, which is a great gift store.
On Weatherspoon Street, where the old Princeton packet is. We're getting provincial here, but yeah, for those, again, you know.
Yep, and the Ben Spoon is actually carrying the book as well.
Mm.
So, and there's one more that I can't tell you yet because it's not finalized, but it will likely happen before March. So.
Well, for a quick bio, if you can lead us through, and maybe I'll interrupt because I always do. You came from an Italian family in northern New Jersey, Belvedere, I can't pronounce it.
Belleville.
Right. Your grandparents, or your parents knew Joe Pesci, you know, the Jersey Boys and everything. You like to cook. It was obvious from reading this bio and Lily Pie's the cookbook. This is the 5th time I've promoted this. Lily Pie's the cookbook. You love cooking. It reached to your soul. And then you went to Bucknell. To me, Bucknell is like Ivy League, serious academics and everything for elementary education and mathematics. Ugh, I couldn't deal with the little. I mean, I have kids. I love them, but I'd rather cook and own my own business, maybe. And then it just hit you. You had to get into cooking, right? Your passion drew you there, and that was it. Yeah,
it's funny. On paper, I should have just been a teacher the rest of my life, and I did enjoy that. It just, when I would enter a commercial kitchen, I felt at home. From the time I had my first cooking job until I was baking on my own, until I, you know, then when I was at Small World, I just felt comfortable in that environment. And there's no way to explain it. I'm certainly not making more money where I'm at now. You know, there's really no logical reason to go into culinary, but I felt most comfortable, and it was where I was supposed to be.
Well, I talked to a psychiatrist about you, a famous one, not my own. And he goes, no, you already know subconsciously or consciously your skill set and where you should be. Maybe you haven't optimized it and put it on paper, but then you were there and you knew. Yeah. And it was always there. And yeah. I think a lot of it, most people, he told me, 2/3 of the people he talks to, they're in jobs they don't want to be in. It doesn't fit their skill set and their passion. Of course, you make compromises. It can't be the perfect job. And I'm sure this job isn't the perfect thing, which leads me to your parents said, do not go in the food business and do not start your own business.
Right.
And I guess this passion, you said, again, wise advice, but it depends who you're talking to. It didn't meet your passion, though. You had to, basically, right?
Yeah. Growing up, I heard stories about my grandfather. He was a butcher in Newark with his brothers, and he worked harder than anyone I've ever known. We lived in the same house when I was growing up in Belleville before we moved to Westwood in Bergen County. But he just, it was a very physical job, and he was exhausted at the end of the day. but he was proud of it and he loved it. And but he was one of the ones that said, don't go into food. It's a
Right.
lot of work. And it
Right.
is. It's a lot of physical, mental, emotional labor.
Well, let's break down the components though. You have to be an entrepreneur, you have to be a manager, you have to, so you have to be a business person,
Mhm.
and you have to have stamina and all that, and find a team. Part of that is team.
Yeah.
And what are you good at? All of it, or you just learn on the job? When you went to Lily Pies, how did it happen? You had to negotiate space and.
Yeah, we negotiated space. We wanted to be in a location that was more of a in-town location, as far as people who live in town would go to this location rather than tourists. So we thought the shopping center was the perfect spot for that. A lot of people who live in town will go and shop at the shopping center.
That's my uptown. I don't go up to uptown anymore. You know.
I go to both, but most people, it seems, go to the shopping
Right.
center who live in town. So we really wanted to have, a good group of regulars who would come in every day. And we've established that. And they come in and they're the greatest people on earth. And we'd love to see them, and they're part of our family.
And part of that, I read your preamble, part of it, you really want to give back. You want to have a community feel. You want to give back to the community. And how do you do that? How do you establish these relationships and give back? And also promote yourself at the same time. It's a win-win, I think, for everyone.
Yeah, well, we, our kids have gone through and are going through the Princeton school system. So we do fundraisers for the schools, and not just the public schools, for private schools as well in town. We give back that way. We also host, when there's not a pandemic, we host local jazz groups to come in to perform. And these are jazz groups of sometimes high schoolers, sometimes kids who graduated through the studio band program, which is, it's such a gift to our town to have that program in place. So we host that, we support that. Every month as well, we have a pie of the month or an item of the month that we give back 10% of the whole, of the sales. So each month a staff member will choose their pie flavor. We'll invent that pie, we'll sell that pie, and then 10% of those proceeds go to the fundraiser that employee chooses. So this month, it's Sophia's pie, Sophia, who's in the book, who did the drawing. So the Sophia pie, the 10% of the proceeds are going to Homefront, New Jersey this month.
Wow. So you really walked through, and also it's interesting, it's creative, it's different. And so it's a movie novella. What's going to be the pie of the month, or the dish of the month? I love it.
Yeah,
and people get involved. I'm excited. Patrick, my producer, this is marketing. And again, I don't mean that cynically either. I mean, it's giving back, it's helping, because you are part of this community. And why not?
Yeah, absolutely. And when we've started this this idea of the monthly donation, we started it with the local Princeton celebrities. So we started with Chris Barron from Spin Doctors. He was one of our sandwiches of the month.
Princeton High graduate, early 90s, I think.
Yeah, he was awesome with us. And he, Brooke Shields has done it, Bibi New Earth.
Bibi New Earth even did it? I mean, I've had her family on my show in the past. She seemed to, wow, you got her to come. How did you get Bibi to do that? Maybe I can give her a call. Wait, you just said, hey, I'm Lily Pies, and I mean, how do you get her attention?
Person to person, it depended, but generally we asked every customer, every regular we had, do you know Bibi New Earth? Do you have some way to connect us with her? And generally there was somebody who did, always.
But once you got Bibi New Earth on the phone, again, I know her parents better than really her. I mean, I don't want to go where she lives and everything, but she's somewhat of an established star. She's on the, she made, in Hollywood, she's in the top 5%. She made a long career. It's amazing that someone did that. It's hard to do. Do you talk to her? Do you talk to her press agent? What happened?
Her parents were regulars, and they would come in all the time before COVID.
Oh, Dr. New Earth. Okay.
Yes. And
Sydney does painting too. So Sydney has her paintings and everything, right?
And then one day, Bibi New Earth came in and she said, hi, I'm Bibi. I'd like to talk with you about your idea. And it was on a busy Saturday, and I was kind of blown away a little bit, but she was so kind and generous about it. And
was Fraser Crane around, or any of the cheers?
No, but her husband's lovely also, and he owns cafes in New York. So we were talking business together.
Oh,
So
right,
it
right.
was fun.
I remember my brother asked her out in high school. She said no 3 times, but she played Nurse Ratched, I remember, and One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and she had great legs. I just remember that. But anyway, can we ask you questions from around the world? These are people I asked from California to Sweden to Australia. I said you were going to be on. What questions would you have for her? So can we shoot?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. How do you decide what to bake, and how do you avoid wasting supplies?
Oh, that's a really good question. Heather, our head pastry chef, and I ponder this all the time. So generally there are items that do well on the first day. There are items that if they don't sell the first day, they turn into something else, like bread pudding, almond croissants, things like that are supposed to be second day items that turn into something else if they're rebaked.
Oh, interesting.
So generally we're always looking for things that can have that second life in some way or other. And it turns into something completely different, but we don't waste. We try not
I like that.
we can't do anything with it. We actually have a pig bucket in the walk-in fridge. And those scraps go to the pigs of the farmer that we work with at Lima Family Farm.
I love that. I just hate waste. Americans waste so much food. We waste 1/3 of what we produce. So I love you for that. And good you have a relationship though, so the farmer won't sue you if the pigs get sick or anything.
No,
Hopefully not.
They haven't yet. They're pretty tough.
This comes from a friend of mine who started her own driving school in Australia. How are you dealing with the pandemic? How does it affect your business, your psyche? What was the triage you had to do? All of a sudden, this massive problem got thrown in your lap that could curtail business.
Yeah, well, I remember in the very first few months, Gab from the Bent Spoon would come in and we'd talk about this. And we both said, it feels like we're playing a game of chess and we feel like, okay, I'm getting ahead on this game, and then you turn around and the chess pieces were moved. So each day, everything was changed just a little bit, and you had to keep pivoting in order to survive and to keep the business alive. So it's a lot of pressure to, number one, keep our staff safe. When there are certain people in our community who don't want to wear masks, and we have to explain to them, this is keeping my 20 people safe. So I'll help you outside, but
you're showing more patience than I have no patience for this. Whatever you are, shotgun, get out, wear the mask. People can we can make sacrifices. It's not a big one.
Sure. But there's that pressure. There's the pressure to pay everyone to stay alive. And there's it's just a lot of pressure right now. But it does help that 99% of the customers are just so supportive and kind, and that keeps us going and keeps us.
You think since they had a relationship with you, they believed in you, they made an effort. I know that my wife made an effort. We have to give Lily Pies our business. Yeah. You think that's happening with other people too?
Oh, that's happening a lot. We have customers coming in and they're like, I don't need another cookbook, but I'm going to buy another cookbook for my friend because I'm going to support you. And we appreciate that so much. That's just so kind. And, let me just say, it's not just Lily Pies, every business in town, if you want them to be around next year, support them in one way or other, buy gift cards, buy takeout, buy, anything, t-shirts. We really appreciate that because it's a hard time right now for all of us.
Yeah. And again, it's just making a little effort. It's not charity either. You're still getting the service you want at the same time. Oh, I believe that totally. This is from a friend of mine in California. She works at Disney. She's an executive in Disney Studios. Ooh. She goes, you have to have tunnel vision, I think, to be an entrepreneur. She wants with one time. How do you turn off your mind? Are you able to turn off your mind from the biz?
That's really funny. Yes, I've been focusing on that the past maybe 6 months. It's impossible to turn it off in normal times. And, now I'll wake up at 2 a.m. and I'll think of a detail and I'll have to write it down or it doesn't go.
That's what you do. That's what you do.
So that's the only way to do it for me right now.
And you're still married. You're still married.
Happily married. Yeah.
Okay.
He now accepts that, okay, you're now on that in your mind. So we won't talk about this. So, but he gets it.
Right. That's great, supportive. Well, my producer is I think I'm getting a signal. Let's go over the bona fides. Let's promote. This is Lily Pies. Why don't you give us your bona fides? Give me the website, Amazon, the amazing cookbook. You know why I love this cookbook? Because it's so easy to read. I like it. And I like the pictures. And you get, I guess when you have, hopefully I leave an impression on you and my personality. This book has personality, and it has good food recipes and it'll make your stomach happy. So anyway, go ahead and tell us your bona fides, please. How can they reach you?
So yeah, we can be seen on www.lilypies.com, LILLIPIES. And our Twitter is at lilypies. Our Facebook is at lilypies. Our Instagram is at lilypies. So it's pretty easy to find. And we do have, lots of information going out on social media all the time. So just make sure to follow us. And
the book's on Amazon.com.
It's on Amazon, but we sell it in the store. You can go to our website and we will mail it out as well for the same price as Amazon. And then it's better for us.
If someone walks in, if you're not busy, you're highly approachable and you answer any question. You'll talk about food. Absolutely. You talk about Joe Pesci, anything.
I don't know much my mother knows more about Joe Pesci than I do, but I'd be happy to tell you what I know.
Well, thank you very much, Jen Carson. It's been informative. Hopefully we've educated, entertained, and informed, and you certainly have. And this is Breezin with Bierman, the podcast. And this has been Jen Carson of Lily Pies in the Princeton Shopping Center, Princeton, New Jersey. Thank you very much.